It's just a shed full of glass. No, oh, that's just my milk bottle museum, loosely called a shed. I like to think of it as a workshop, so it's not just like a stable block or something like that, which contains my collection of 17,500 British milk bottles and probably 2,000 or 3,000 from overseas, from all different countries. It is the largest collection of British milk bottles overall in the UK, but I do have friends who specialise. Well, do a lot of walking and climbing, and belong to many clubs over the years doing the same thing. And if there was ever a bottle or something different, I was the one that found it and took it home. And I was walking on the Brecon Beacons up Pen y Fan and stumbled across an old milk bottle from the 1950s in the Bracken. Took it home. It was from Whitchurch in Shropshire, and I discovered the dairy was closing down. And I then did a bit more investigation and found that all the dairies were starting to close down or being taken over. So I decided to try and get as many bottles as I could, and now 30 years later I'm where I'm at. My mission is to find every milk bottle I haven't got. Well, I will never complete it, and in all honesty I never want to, because while I'm still looking, they're still out there and I'm still meeting people and having a great time. Now there's a story for you. When they were filming Great Balls of Fire, they wanted a couple of period milk bottles, so they got in touch with me. I said, yeah, I've got a couple of bottles, and I put them in the post, and my bottles are in the film. Because when Jerry Lewis came over to the UK in the 1958, he was on the wagon. So they put my 2 milk bottles with milk in a champagne bucket in his London hotel room, filled with milk, and they zoomed symbolically on them, you know, to say he was drinking milk and not the alcohol. My wife is not a collector by any means, but she's quite happy with my side of collecting, all the places we go, all the people we meet. She's great at organising where we stay, whether it's a travel lodge or whether it's a B&B or a self-catering. She reads the map and checks with Myrtle, who's the name of our sat-nav, to make sure that's okay. The trouble with a sat-nav in the country is you get the name of the farm and you suddenly find you can't find it. So you ring the lady who's on the farm, or the gentleman, and she says, you're the other side of the river, aren't you? And you say, I'm on by the river, and she says, you look across the river, you can see the White House, that's us. So you then drive 3 miles up the road, over the bridge, 3 miles the other side, to get to the place, which is in the same postcode, but a river runs through it. So Sue's great for sort of seeing things in advance and sorting things out like that. She helps me once every year or so, where we clean every bottle in there. This is dull. Where we take every bottle off shelf, I use white food grade gloves and I wipe them down, and Sue washes the shelves and we put them back. We don't ever heat that. It's pretty cold in winter, but it means it keeps the dust down. So you don't get as much cake dust or bits off people. So Sue generally is quite happy with it. As long as they stay out here and she stays in there. And milk bottles are a dying breed. There's no two ways about it. They're on their way out with dairies. There's very few dairies now that actually produce milk bottles at all. There's only one company left in the UK that even prints milk bottles, which is Seaway Services up in Padiham, because they will do small quantities. The large dairies said, if you want any milk bottles which are under 5 million, we're not going to look at them. And the ones they do now only have to be embossed. They can't have any printed message because they use what's called a sidewall scanner, which looks for debris and something wrong with the milk. Well, if you print a milk bottle, it's going to reject every one after the other. It's going to kick it out the line. So they now have embossing on the bottom and on the top, so you can look at the milk. So there's a few dairies, mostly in areas where you don't get large supermarkets, where the dairy doesn't get killed by them. Yes, they are on the way out. I mean, it's quite sad because I like to see milk bottles carry on because of the glass. Well, I suppose when you get to my age, which is no great age with the way people live nowadays, but you try and do things a little differently. One man, which is Cyril Bates in Southport, I pulled into his yard about 25 years back, and he said, hey lad, he said, I've been waiting for you. I thought, this is good because I've never met him before, I'd never been there before. And he went out and he came back with 3 crates full of bottles, plus 3 spare bottles, which is a total of 63 bottles. Every time he'd had a bottle or a batch of bottles made, he'd saved 1 bottle of the design, 1/3 of a pint, 1/2 a pint, 1/4 pint, whatever, quart, because he knew someday somebody might want an example. And it was me.